Worldwide movement, peace, love, respect. Big King Sadiq hollering at you one more game for the Steelers Game Prep channel. And I'm joined today by my esteemed colleague, Steel Town, Tony Brown. One time, right? Um, Folks, we just want to take a little bit of your time and talk really quickly about this 2025 Steelers schedule. Give you a little bit of our reaction to it, as it's already been out for a while now, a little over a day and a half. Folks have had some time to digest it, right? And there's a ton of reaction shows out there. We're going to give you our opinion, just what we see overall from the schedule, and we'll go through it first, and then we'll go back and add a little bit more commentary on some of the things that we think might be some unique challenges that we see from this season schedule.
Okay, sounds like a winning program to me. What do you guys think?
Word life, word life. All right, let's take this ride, folks. So the preseason, we start out with a nice AFC South challenge from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Folks, I don't know if you've been keeping track like I have, right? But I think we've lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
A few painful times.
Right, quite a few painful times, right? So anytime we can get a W there, that'll be great, even if it's just a preseason. Then we go.
Well, that's going to be on CBS, on KDKA. It's going to be away at the Embark Stadium. And this will be the first preseason game, so we expect to see a lot of the new young rookies playing in this game. You very rarely see veterans play if it maybe just a cameo. Most of the time, they won't even play in the game at all.
Right. True indeed. Which is not a bad thing, right? Especially with a strong rookie class coming in, a lot of plug-and-play players that we think will have impact right away, right? Okay, so then we slide into week number 2 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming to town. Or I'm sorry, is that in a way?
No, that's going to be at Acashore.
Okay, that's at Acashore.
It's a CBS KDKA game. It'll also be heard on the radio on DVE.
Cool.
The thing about this game is now that there's only 3 preseason games, this game is the one that the veterans will play maybe the whole first half. This will be their true test, because the week 3 game, which you'll get to in a minute, they probably won't even see the field.
Right. This is definitely going to be the
Baker Mayfield,
the dress rehearsal, right, that we all look forward to in the preseason against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield. Like you said, the many Steelers fans may remember the painful visions of Baker celebrating on our field, right? But anyway, if there's any kind of a revenge factor, but again, folks, this is a preseason game. But still, we all remember those images painfully, right?
How can I forget?
All right. But then we slide into week number 3, and our perennial preseason
doormat. Somebody had to say it.
Competition. The Carolina Panthers.
Shout out to our people in Carolina. I meant nothing by that. Just want y'all to know. Brandon, you know I'm talking to you.
Let's keep those relations right. We play them every year, and we respect them, right?
Yes.
We appreciate the Carolina Panthers for being cooperative with us every year. Well, I'm sure the Steelers appreciate that, right? But anyway, those are the 3 preseason games. And
that Carolina is down in Carolina. We might be. I wanted to make sure that our peeps know we might be staying with them. That's going to be at the Bank of America Stadium down there in Carolina.
Okay, cool. All right, week 1, folks. Wasting no time. The New York Jets out of the gate, already a game with storylines. Whether Aaron Rodgers is with us this year or not, which many of us believe he will be. But only he knows that, of course. Excuse me. Even without that storyline, you will definitely have the storyline of Justin Fields playing his just departed Pittsburgh Steelers team. And a lot of people felt a lot of different ways about that.
Well, let me ask you this.
Okay.
If it happens,
okay,
do the fans in Acrisure, and I'll be there, will they cheer or will they jeer him?
Well, this is up.
Does he get a Bream? A Sid Bream return, or does he get a Barry Bonds? Oh,
yeah,
it's in MetLife Stadium.
This is
oh, that kills me. Okay.
Yeah, this is in New York. So,
well, he should get a standing ovation.
Oh well, I don't care what he gets as long as we get the W and he walks away losing one to his old squad. But probably expect to see a very motivated Justin Fields that day, as he has parted ways with the Pittsburgh Steelers and found himself a nice little contract with the New York Jets, and that is our week 1 opponent. We slide.
Well, wait a minute. What happens if your scenario comes true? And Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now you have Aaron Rodgers.
Then you have
now that I'm on the same page with everybody else, now you have Aaron Rodgers going to MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, and you got that storyline as well. He'll probably get booed. There's not much chance he gets out of there with a warm and cuddly feeling from that crowd, but that's fine. We like that too, right?
Okay, he'll have something to prove.
Indeed. Now, with that being said, we slide on to week number 2 against the Seattle Seahawks, right?
No, this one I assure you is Zach Acrisure.
Indeed. This is we never get, or at least we have not in a long time, got a week 1 home opener. But this is the home opener, at least in week 2, because we've had some seasons where it's been week 3 before we actually got home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before the Steelers have played in Acrisure. So we get that in week number 2 against the Seattle Seahawks, a stiff opponent, but a lot of changes, a lot of moving parts in that team. So hopefully the Steelers will catch them not quite having things all together settled with the Seattle Seahawks.
And just a heads up, because this has caught me a few times for those DVRers out there, this game is going to be on Fox because Seattle is an NFC team. Indeed, so just keep that in mind. It is on Fox, and it's a 1 o'clock kickoff.
This is a Fox game. And then we keep it moving right along. Week 3, we go back on the road to visit the New England Patriots.
Patriots.
Good one. Tone, I'm gonna say this, man, that I don't care whether it is here or there. I am tired of losing to the New England Patriots. I'm tired of seeing the Pittsburgh Steelers lose to the New England Patriots. They have won games where I thought for sure we would have mopped the field up with them. They're just a surprise.
They've been given a few.
We got them a few times, but
no, they've been given a few. Oh, that's not a touchdown. What?
Yeah.
Come on, you got to be kidding me.
Hey, well, regardless, regardless of debate or not, I certainly would love to see the Steelers pull out one against the New England Patriots.
What play against the New England Patriots ripped your heart out?
Don't even go there. We'll keep it moving.
I'm gonna get that story out of you.
We'll keep it moving to week number 4 as we have another tough opponent.
And this one across the pond.
Yep, and this is an NFC opponent again in the Minnesota Vikings. Technically, this is a home game for the Steelers, but this again, as Steeltown has just mentioned, this is across seas in Ireland, right? And
did you say Rooney Lane?
Indeed. and I think for that reason, you might see a preponderance of black and yellow black and gold, whichever way you want to say it, in the stadium.
You were going to see that anyway. We just travel that way, but now, you better believe that that's a home game.
Even though there are Giants fans all over, Vikings fans all over. I would expect to see
3 of them.
Right. I would expect to see plenty of
one will be Fran Tarkington.
Plenty of Steelers fans in the building that day. All right, so then we keep it moving. After that, we got the bye week.
Ooh.
Now, we'll circle back and talk about that.
That's week 5, though.
That's week 5. We'll talk about that as we.
All right, so off the bye.
We're off of the bye week in the week number 6, and we've got the Cleveland Browns coming to Acrisure Stadium, right?
Sunday, 1 o'clock.
Hold on, is that definitely in Acrisure? Okay.
Yeah, that's in Acrisure. They come to us.
All right, so we host them first, and by then,
technically, we've only been in Acrisure twice.
Yeah, right.
It's week 6.
Right. And my thoughts are though about the Cleveland Browns.
I'm a season ticket holder. That's important. All the warm weather's gone.
Who will the quarterback be? We have
at this point,
right?
Okay,
right, because that's right around that point where you could potentially
could it be two glove? Could it be two glove?
We'll see.
Because if you think about it, if Flacco starts the season, he should be hurt by then. That's week 6.
Joe, we want you to stay healthy, buddy. Right? We're not predicting any.
Joe, I like you, so I don't want you to play in that game because they coming. You know it, and I know it.
All right, and then we keep it moving on. Week 7, we visit the Cincinnati Bengals.
Thursday night football at its best.
Thursday
prime
night
time
football at its best. And I got to tell you, the Steelers do tend to shine in prime time, but we know it is going to be a heck of a battle facing Joe Burrow, who you would hope, is still upright and healthy at that young juncture in the season, right? And hey, man, to be the best, you got to beat the best. So we want their best punch to make us that more ready for stiff competition. And we're going to get it, I would anticipate, right? Joe Burrow certainly goes all out in playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we're going to be facing them in Cincinnati.
Yeah, but with that being said, little birdie told me for y'all to like to get on that FanDuel or whatever that stuff is and try to make some money. Little birdie told me that the Steelers are playing at home at 1 o'clock and only have to travel a couple miles to Cincinnati, where Cincinnati was on the road late. That sounds like an advantage to me. Just putting that out there.
I would agree. All right, moving into week number 8, and we now have the Green Bay Packers coming to Acrisure Stadium. Stiff competition indeed. Jordan Love, an exciting young quarterback, and the Packers last year finished out with a pretty rousing defense. The combination of the two with a pretty good running game. They're stiff competition. They're for real, right? Mm-hmm. And probably a good gauge for the Steelers at that juncture of the season to sort of feel out, where the Steelers are at that point.
Well, the surprise 5-2 Steelers playing prime time on Sunday night, I feel pretty good at home that when Renegade sounds, the Green Bay Packers will be going home. But that's just a little secret of what I'm going to do when I do my predictions. Go, let's keep moving.
Indeed. we slide into week number 9 and find the first back-to-back homestand, right?
Oh, yeah.
Another home game against the Indianapolis Colts. And they bring a very interesting challenge. The Colts have also, remember, folks, in recent appearances, recent matchups against the Steelers fared very well. And unfortunately, we lost a couple to them, if memory serves me correctly. So there's plenty of motivation for quote-unquote revenge.
When I tell you that's a trap game, then in my predictions, you might actually believe me.
Well, Well,
because at this point we just knocked off Green Bay.
Right. Here's why
and we're sitting at 6-2.
And this is where I shouldn't be, and this is certainly going to be up to our Coach Tomlin to make sure that his team is aware of just what I brought up.
This is the game. This is the game that Tomlin haters look for.
And this is a team.
They got this one marked on the schedule. This is a Tomlin trap.
This is a team in the Indianapolis Colts that, unfortunately, for the Steelers, has proven to be one of those sneaky.
You can say a Tomlin game.
One of those sneaky tough outs, right? So we're going to move from them right on to week number 10.
Scary.
And now
I'll tell you why.
We have the Los Angeles Chargers, right?
It's on the road.
And
another home game.
The Los Angeles Chargers.
Another home game.
Now we see sort of mirror image in the way that they like to play with a strong running game and the way Harbaugh believes in running his team with a tough defense.
Who do they got?
Very similar to the Pittsburgh Steelers in a lot of ways.
To the fact that it's very similar because they got Najee Harris.
Indeed. And there's that,
similar.
There's that, folks, that they do indeed have now Najee Harris, along with quite a few other talented backs in that running game.
So they might not even throw Najee a pitch out.
This is going to be a game likely where our quote-unquote revamped defensive line is going to have to come up big. Mm-hmm. So, all right, we're going to go right into
that's week Sunday night 11, game.
Indeed. And we go right into, week number 11 with the rematch versus the Cincinnati Bengals.
This is at the crib.
Now we have them at Acrisure, right? And certainly we'll have big motivation to face them and make sure we can put our stamp on the division against what is predicted to be one of the tougher opponents in the AFC North for the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right. We're moving down into those later months in the season where we're starting to see real NFC North football. We're starting to get into late November and early December football on into January. Snow may be falling, temperatures dropping, and we find ourselves making our way to none other than the Windy City.
Soldier Field.
We'll feel it, right? The Hawk is real, folks.
Can I say it? Can I say who we're playing?
Come on.
The Bears.
The Bears, true indeed, right? Shout out to Dicka, Pittsburgh native. But yeah, we got the Chicago Bears with their then will be second-year quarterback who showed some improvement toward the
yes, he did. Remember, this is why we got Fields,
right? Showed some improvement, so they could be a sneaky tough out, and we got to make sure certainly the Steelers are prepared for that game. Now, week number 13, we have a really big challenge, which hopefully that doesn't set the Chicago Bear game up to be a trap game.
Well, here's the thing. Starting week 13, this is last year's gauntlet.
Right.
The teams that we face in the last 6 games are going to be tremendous tests each week.
Indeed, in different ways, but certainly very staunch tests in their own right. As we start with week number 13, the Buffalo Bills.
Can you say rematch of the starters?
Indeed.
Just remember I said that. It's a rematch of the starters.
Again, with that revenge theme for the Pittsburgh Steelers, one they seem to be revisiting quite a bit this season as far as the schedule goes. And then we slide into week number 14 on the road against the Baltimore Ravens.
It's pretty late for the first look at your Ravens, ain't it?
First look at the Ravens.
The league knows what they're doing.
And we're starting off in Baltimore.
M&T.
And certainly we know that they will be jacked up for that game, looking to make a strong home.
I might take a cruise that week out of Baltimore.
Strong
just
home
for the heck
showing,
of it.
Right? Strong home showing for the Ravens and their hometown fans, and the Steelers looking to spoil that, which they often have done.
Oh, yeah.
We go week number 15 with the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, it's getting cold up here.
Right? And they are playing in Acrisure Stadium, which certainly at that time of year,
at that time of 15th, night, that's an 8:15 Monday night football game.
And it's a night game in the middle of December, so we look for it to be.
I might have tickets for sale.
Right?
It's cold.
Quite chilly, and certainly that should be a challenge for the Dolphin players. All right, we move on to week number 16, and we go on the road again to Detroit.
Ooh, they're favored to go to the Super Bowl this year, aren't they?
The Bus's hometown, right? Jerome, shout out
Jerome,
right? Yeah, Detroit is the team that did play in the NFC Championship, one of the teams that played in the NFC Championship last year, and certainly expected to be a Super Bowl contender.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second? Because ever since you mentioned Bettis, I just can't get that fried cheeseburger off my mind that I had down at the. I just got to give a shout out. I mean, I know I'm from Frankstown and y'all, but my point is that okay? Go ahead.
Anyway,
my fault. It was good though, man.
An opportunity to segue to food, right? No, but yeah, we got the Detroit Lions, and certainly we know they'll be a very stiff challenge as they are again this year assumed to be a Super Bowl contender. We keep it moving once again into week number 17 to find the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road again, this time in Cleveland.
And anything can happen up there.
Late in the season as well. Yeah. That's a game again.
The 2-15 Browns, by the way.
Again, I'm going to say a lot of that has to depend on how their quarterback situation shapes out.
What?
That's my word on it, right?
Oh, so somehow they're going to magically not be Cleveland.
We'll see.
Okay.
All right, and that is the next to the last
for the division.
Likely for the division, right? We have the Baltimore Ravens coming in for the final game of the season, playing in Pittsburgh in Acrisure.
You know, Stadium. I have so many memories of this game and so many important from my man. You see, I'm sporting my Palomalu. That's probably my greatest game that I have witnessed in at that time. It was Heinz Field. That and the immaculate reception from Antonio Brown on that fourth down play. I tell you what, this will be another one, guys. I guarantee you, for the division.
Yeah, I expect this to be a magnificent game. I expect, well, we'll get into what the records will be in just a moment, but I do expect it to be a hard-hitting game that will hopefully for the Steelers, they'll be in position to be challenging for the division, and we certainly expect that the Baltimore Ravens will be right there as well. All right, now let's go back, folks. And
are you going to give me just the outcome, or do you want me to get into how are we going to do this?
No, so for my
who's playing the game?
All I'm really going to do is tell you three things, folks, really quickly, and then we'll go back through a couple of highlights that we see, or a couple of things that stand out about the schedule here. I see personally this season going one of three ways, right? If Mason Rudolph is the starter for the duration of the season, based on what I've seen, not only from his last what was that, 5 games or so, 4 or 5 games.
The last, right? His run to the playoffs.
His run into the playoffs, and then the playoff game, of course. Along with what he did in his time in Tennessee. Out of 8 games that he played for them, he started 5, and he threw for a little over 1,500 yards, 64% complete, and it was actually only 9 picks to flatten out with his 9 touchdowns. So certainly,
and that was for Tennessee.
That was for Tennessee.
Okay.
That wasn't the ratio we wanted to see, but again, we did see well over 60% complete.
He's a game manager.
We saw in 5 games started, 8 played, a little over 1,500 yards. So on pace there for, a close to 4,000 yard season if we were to extrapolate it out over 16 games. But the point is, he wasn't terrible, right? He wasn't a superstar quarterback, but if this team has the kind of defensive presence and the change in success at the running game that I expect, I could easily see, even with Mason Rudolph, this team pulling out 9 wins to 8 losses. If we see Aaron Rodgers actually come and sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and if he is the Aaron Rodgers of the early portion of last year, I think it gets a little bleak, and you could actually see the Pittsburgh Steelers flip that and go 8-9, and maybe even have
how dare you say that Tomlin's going? How dare you?
I say if Aaron Rodgers is not is at the same or a similar level of effectiveness as what he displayed early in the season last year.
I don't care if Duck Hodges is your quarterback. He's going to win half of his games. You want the proof?
Anyway, you'll get a minute. You'll get a minute. My third outcome is Aaron Rodgers actually playing to what I witnessed when I went back and looked at the games that he finished out early in the season, later in the season to close out. He did, in fact, show a lot of improvement, and I specifically watched one of those games to see that I get the feel, right? That I get the feel that the arm talent was still there, that the competitiveness was still there, and
was the victory there?
And finally, again, for those last few games of their season, we did see him start to get some victories. But yeah, I saw the arm talent, right? The arm still pops. He can still make all the throws. I think the big difference between Aaron Rodgers now and years ago, of course, as what happens with most older quarterbacks, is his mobility, right? I think it's that much more important, that Aaron has a clean pocket and a strong, stout offensive line that can provide that regularly. If that happens and we get the kind of Aaron Rodgers that we saw toward the later half of the season, well, then I think that changes a lot, folks. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have an opportunity to be very competitive in that scenario and maybe even glimpse a record the likes of, 12-5, right? And be right there in the playoff mix and maybe be in contention with actually winning the division. So those are the 3 scenarios I pretty much see for the season. Let's go. We were going to
let me. I got my 3.
Okay.
3 scenarios. Okay, if Aaron Rodgers signs, let's say tonight, okay, and he goes through. He probably won't show up for OTAs. He probably will get there maybe at the mandatory mini camp. He'll go through the mandatory mini camp. Then we go to training camp. Mm-hmm. He's going to get some of the. He's going to get a lot of it because remember, he hasn't had any time with any of his team. He doesn't know the offensive line. He doesn't know his running backs. He doesn't know so there's going to be a time to get up to speed. We already talked about the preseason games that they don't even get to play in the first one. They get to play a half in the second one, and then they don't even dress on the third one. And now we're into the season. With that being said, I just don't see a scenario where he can be sharp at 42 years old, I think it'll be at that time. Uh, I don't see him being sharp to start the season. If you don't believe me, ask Kirk Cousins, who we opened up against last year and didn't look nowhere near the Kirk Cousins that he was prior. With that being said, the fact that he's not getting any younger also lets me believe that even if he starts the season, Mason Rudolph will eventually be the starting quarterback. But in this scenario, it's still going to go the same way. Tomlin is not going to lose more than 10 games in this season, not with what the Steelers have done in the draft over the last 2 years.
So
you didn't
let me
see
make
it
sure
yet.
I'm hearing you correctly. Not lose more than 10 games. So you expecting he may lose up to 10 games?
No, I'm expecting the Steelers to be at least 10-7.
So you're saying he won't lose?
Yeah, he won't lose 10 games.
I just wanted to I think we know what you meant.
Yeah,
just wanted to clarify.
No, he won't lose 10 games. They will win 10 games.
Okay.
The minimum that the Steelers will be is 10-7. Okay. And people that say, Tony, you're crazy, I'll say I've been right for the last 17 years, and I do believe the scores run up to 17-0. Now, with that being said, the other scenario is going to be that Mason Rudolph just out and out wins the starting job, as he should have done when it was Trubisky, Pickett, and him. He should have been the starting quarterback then, and that whole debacle wouldn't have happened that year. He wouldn't have had to come in to win the last 3 games because he would have been the starting quarterback for the whole season. Now, with that being said, I believe that is probably the best case scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers, because what they need with what they have built in the draft, a sound running game, a sound offensive line, they need a quarterback that can play action pass, throw deep, and manage the game without turning it over. You give the Steelers a leader that can do that, then you put them in position to win the division, NFC North style, period. That is the best case scenario. That's a 12-5 season, and we are playing the Ravens at the last game for the division in Acrisure. Now, that's a Steeler fan prediction, because that's what I want to happen. Now, the third scenario is even better. The third scenario is that you guys are right and I'm right. Aaron Rodgers is not ready to start the season and did not sign. Mason Rudolph starts the first 2 games, and somewhere in the second game, the rookie starts and runs up a 15-1 record. Sound familiar? He would have to be a big 6'4", 230-pound pocket passer that's very mobile and can run. He would also have to be a kid that's a winner. So he would have had to have won not only at a small college that at that time had 2 big majors and win that conference, but then also turn around and take a national prominent team and win a national championship. Only a guy like that could take a team like the Steelers and win a Super Bowl. So in my third scenario, the rookie takes them, and we go on a terrific tear, because just like with Ben, they're going to hide him behind his offensive line and behind his powerful running game with his scat back. He's going to throw deep every now and then, and he's just going to make plays, managing the game and protecting the football. That's a Super Bowl championship. I'm done.
All right, folks. In grand rant style, we have Tony's.
I'm out on a limb like Tina Marie.
We got Tony's very emotional and very.
But you can take that 10-7 to the bank.
Very animated predictions there. We see a pretty big different view that the two of us share, as we both enthusiastically look forward to this season and both look for great things. Now, there's a couple things we both noticed as potential issues with the schedule. First of all, the early bye, right? We were never been a fan of an early bye week.
I understand why, because the travel and all that's involved. I do understand why, but week 5.
Right. Very thing. Now, I will say this. There's a bit of a caveat in that we do have a late in the season Thursday night football game,
10-day rest,
gives us the 10-day rest, which is sort of a short bye week. So that's a little bit of a compensation or something that would be a reprieve in the way of allowing the Steelers a little bit of the same kind of recuperation that they look for with those late season buys. That's one thing. We do have some scenarios, like we only have the one back-to-back homestand, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. But we're home heavy at the end because remember, we had only been at home twice, and it was already almost November.
I've heard, I'll just pass along, right, that I've heard a few Steelers fans complain about the Ravens schedule and it being a little bit sweet in terms of they're having a nice home game before their bye and after the bye, and the bye that's actually pretty decently placed. But
somebody had to get them to that last game of the season. They needed a little help.
Hey, you all line them up. The Pittsburgh Steelers will be ready to play them. And we feel confident that the Pittsburgh Steelers of the 2025.
But they got to stick the landing. This year, they have to stick the landing.
We'll meet the challenge, indeed. Any other concerns about the schedule in particular?
No, as a matter of fact, see, last year when we hit the end of the schedule, we played a lot of powerhouse teams. By that time, our offensive line, I mean, these guys are rookies all up the middle, second-year guys on the end. They hit their rookie wall at the time where they were expected to play the Baltimores, the Washingtons, the Philadelphias, the Kansas Cities, and they just weren't up to the test. This is their second year. They've got to go through an entire NFL season. They've got to have the off-season weight program. In other words, it's not their part-time job. This is the second year. It's their full-time job. Right. These kids, the talent that we had and that you've seen on display is there. You're going to see it in the late season this year. The other thing, the defensive line. Our defensive line was worn to a nub. They started getting beaten, and teams were running up and down the field. At that point, it didn't matter who was your quarterback. If you can't stop somebody from getting 300 yards rushing.
We all know that, and unfortunately,
that has changed with depth this year.
Playing together, yes, we all have seen the addressing of the defensive line. So, okay, folks, we both remain optimistic. Looking into this season to very different degrees, I mind you, but still optimistic nonetheless. And now we'll basically sit back and put our crystal balls in the cut there and put the cloth back over them and anticipate a little bit of a clearer picture of what the actual roster would look like. I expect that they'll still add another wide receiver in the coming weeks, if not coming days, right? And with OTAs looming, hopefully we'll find out one way or the other for sure about one Mr. Aaron Rodgers. All right, folks. Thank you again for taking time out of your day and seeing what we got to think about this schedule and maybe pondering what it means to you, some challenges you see. We thank you both again. Big King Sadiq for Steelers Game Prep Channel. We got my man here always with me, riding strong, Steel Town Tony Brown.
I hope I get what I want for Christmas. That's all I'm gonna say.
There you go. So we look for a strong season once again from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we'll be right there with you every step of the way for Steelers Game Prep Channel. Once again, this is two members of the panel, and we'll see you one Mo Ginn. Worldwide movement, peace, love, respect. Steelers Game Prep Channel. We out. I ain't got it in that manual there.
Exit stage right.
Indeed.